Camera, action, go.
All right, guys, so it's episode 40-something. I'll let you guys guess what it is. I'm going to give actually to the first person that comments, I'm going to give a free Prevail pre-workout too that guesses what episode it is because we just didn't know.
Are you going to give it to him or are you just saying that?
No, I'm going to give it to him. So, yeah, so we're back. Been a minute. We had some lengthy trips and appreciate everyone's patience. You were in Dubai. I was in Boston. Your trip was a little longer than mine, but I was there a week. Had a successful show out there, the New England Bodybuilding Championships. One of our record shows out there, had a ton of athletes, 100 and a half athletes plus crossovers, and you know, we had a great time there. I got to train at Gym Hub, our buddy Nate over there. So that was pretty good.
What how many years has this show been going on for?
This one is over 15 years. This was originally, so I do a show twice a year in the Boston area. It's actually in Lynn, Mass, because I moved out because of the pandemic. I moved it outside the city. But this show is actually a May show, and I pushed the New Englands to October every year, and the Jay Cutler took the place of the New England. So in May. So I have the, you know, like I said, the Cutlers the end of April every year, and then the New Englands are October. So we have the two contests there every single year. It's always great to go back. I got to see my family, got to see my mom, my brothers, got to, you know, do a little bit on the farm. I'm going to have actually a YouTube video up on JTV of the kind of like the whole trip. I kind of documented it. And no mishaps. I mean, the flights were good, solid. I flew JetBlue Mint.
Before you had to pay the extra bag fees that you bitched about.
No, that was on the way back. So I thought I was being smart because we didn't, you know, this is the kind of thing. So we flew JetBlue Mint. I want to talk a little bit because that anyone that flies in the U.S., I think that is the best first class there is, JetBlue Mint. You actually, it's kind of funny because they have like double seats and then they have a single seat, so you have like your own little cubicle kind of thing. So it's pretty cool. But we flew there with a direct flight, but coming back, they have no Mint available. So I was smart and I was like, I bought 3 seats. Well, little did I realize that going there, we had 3 heavy bags. And coming home, we had 1 heavy one because it was my merchandise bag that I packed like some sweaters and stuff in to kind of lighten up the other bags. And they whacked me $180 for the 1 overweight bag.
When's the last time you paid a bag fee?
Well, I can't remember, but to be listen, I understand paying, you know, $50 or $100, but to be charged $180 for an overweight bag was just, it's $30 plus $150 for the overweight.
Did you complain?
And it was $68. No, I said, wow, they really get you. I mean, I was like, oh, I bought an extra seat, so we just had a whole row. And what's the coincidence? The plane's like half empty.
Really?
The plane was half empty. So more than likely, I probably wouldn't have had someone sitting there. But actually, my luck, I would have.
Of course.
So Angie slept, you know, she's stretched out and whatever. But we made it back. Like I said, I was gone 6 total days. The weather was absolutely amazing. We had planned to do more Halloween stuff. We got to visit with more friends and family, so it was actually kind of decent. You know, we actually thought about going to Salem one day, but the news media out there was like, do not come to Salem. It's too crazy. Seems like every year, I know you think this is stupid, but people seem to celebrate, adults seem to celebrate. I talked to Jose Raymond. He told me, he said, Jay, there were more adult trick-or-treaters in his neighborhood than kids. And I said,
what the fuck? Why?
I don't know, dude. Like I've heard of adults dressing up for events or parties or clubs, right? But I've never heard of adults trick-or-treating.
People are that broke, they want free
candy.
No,
but I mean, it's like, and I'm not going to lie, like I went to my sister's, they had the candy jar, went to my brother's, and, you know, it's just really cool to kind of, and you guys will see this on video, but it's just really cool to go back to your roots. And I as I get older, I learn to appreciate like where I came from. Not that I want to move back there, but like my brother lives in the house that I originally grew up in, and you know, they still run the concrete business, and his son actually works with him. He's, you know, my brother's kids all did concrete, my nephews, and they all stopped except for one. So it's like my 2 brothers and then my 1 brother's son. They only have 3 people. I asked my brothers at hard because usually when we do a foundation, you do the walls, you start at like on a corner, and each it's like a group they kind of set the forms all the way around and then meet. So it's really hard with 3 people because one guy's by themselves just setting both sides of the forms. And we used to have like paired up couples that did it. And he said, no, it works out great. And, it's just easier for them. And, they don't work the crazy hours. I used to work 16-hour days. And I asked them about daylight savings, how that's going to affect it. But they said no one is doing foundations anymore in that area. So they are so busy. It's ridiculous.
Sure. So
and he
said,
said,
the price in or no?
He told me, so he kind of laid it out to me. He said, do you remember when you worked? And I worked from 11 to 18. So I quit in 91. So it was in the mid 80s all the way through. He said a foundation cost $4,000 then. A normal foundation, he said, it's $40K now.
So 10x.
He said the price of everything, all the material. He said the forms. He said the forms are like $75. They're $150 now each form to set up, and the ties that hold them together. And I mean, the price of concrete's gone up. So anyone building a home, we talk about this all the time because home construction, and we always think, oh, it's just cheaper to build, but the cost of materials are just ridiculous. He said, I said, where do the people get the money? He said, we asked the same question because we're so damn busy. It's ridiculous.
I ask this all the time. I mean, I do decent financially, and I have friends of mine that have normal jobs like teachers and mechanics and this, and they got new houses, they got new jet skis, new cars, new a cabin up in the mountain. I'm like, how do you guys afford this shit? Like, I can't afford it. I mean, technically maybe I can, but I always want to get ahead.
Well, you save money,
Of course.
Remember, like, over 80% of people live, I think it's over 90-something% live, they're 1 month away from
losing everything.
Yeah.
Or when people get a raise, they're like, oh, I was making $50,000, now I'm making 60, so I'm going to go buy a bigger car, bigger house. I'm like,
in
why?
a sense, you still got to live a little bit, but just to hear that, it put things kind of in perspective because, I feel I still live in a bubble a little bit, and, my life is like, it's very repetitive, right? And I don't step outside my comfort zone a lot, and I obviously, we don't deal with foundations in the West Coast because there's no basements necessarily unless you choose to. In Vegas, you would need a fucking bomb to be able to blow the ground up in order to, be able to get through the caliche here to build a basement.
Yeah, you should have a basement. There's some people with basements.
No, I know. It's actually. I was looking at Realtor one day, and there's this house, and I think you sent it to me. It's all underground.
Yeah,
you see that house?
It's near the Strip.
Yeah, so it's like
16,000 square feet.
Yeah, so it's like a small little. I'm not going to say crappy house, but it's nothing at all. I mean, it's $5 million for this property, and you go down this elevator, and it's like a whole world down under
it's
the
near
ground.
Downtown. It's like a whole city block, and it's a house. And it makes it look like you're outside. Like
they painted the ceilings.
Yeah,
it's like
underground.
Caesar's Mall, when you look and it looks like the sky and all that.
I remember looking at that, and I'm like, because I saw the first picture, I'm like, this thing's what, $4 or $5 million. I'm like, what a piece of shit this is. And you start like, this looks like an old crappy house, and you start looking at it, you're like, what the hell? This is like a little museum.
Yeah,
it's like some just random crazy house.
So I can't imagine the kind of like what went into that to get that blast the ground out and be able to get through there. I don't know if I'd want to live underground. I mean, obviously, if there was a doomsday type situation, but
I wouldn't want to be in Vegas. Isn't there a bunch of people that live underground here?
Yeah, under the Strip.
Yeah, there's like a whole documentary
community. Yeah, so
have you ever gone and checked it out?
No, but no, because it's all like it's like a whole community. Like,
why don't we go be investigative journalists?
Is there underground people on the Strip? What do they call them?
Underground people.
You should know this. I mean, yeah.
There is. I saw it, and it said every time it rains, like their whole houses get flushed out.
Yeah, we usually get a couple recoveries out of that.
Really? Wow.
Wow. Why don't you go? Why don't
we're not
just
going
do a Cutler Cast underground?
So to get back, so it was good to see my brother. I saw both brothers, not the third brother, but got to see my sister. I bought her a 65-inch TV yesterday because she just moved into a new house, so I kind of gave her gift. I was like, okay, let's see how big. I've been trying to buy the biggest one you can get, and it was like 75 or something. How big? I don't know how
No,
big.
you can get 85s.
Okay.
Pretty easy.
Yeah, 75 was like, and I'm like, I don't know, it might be too big, you know?
Just, you know, it's so funny. You just said you bought a TV in 91, or you bought a foundation was 4,040. Yeah. If you would have bought a big TV 20 years ago, it would have been 20 grand. Now it's like 500.
Well, my 42 inches were 1,400 a piece, my Samsungs in my house.
I remember this would have been in like 02. I went and visited this house, and my friend's dad had just bought this TV. It was like when the flat screens first came out.
But they weren't really flat, bro. They were
they were about this thick, but it hung on the wall. And we were like, oh my God, a TV on the wall. And he paid $20,000 for it. It was a plasma. Yep. And now you can get it was like a 42-inch. And now a 42-inch on the wall is like $250.
So I want to say on Best Buy, I paid $650 for it, six.
That's good. It's a nice one.
And I bought a 5-year warranty with it. Mm-hmm. So she just, before I came here, you know, Angie called her and said, hey, your TV got delivered because we saw the tracking. And she's like, oh, I must have been in the shower, and they left it in her backyard, and of course left it there. And she's like, I can't bring it. It's huge. She's like, she's by herself. You know, her kids live there, but they're at work. So she's like, I can't bring it in the house, and I have to go to work. You know, so TV's sitting in the backyard.
Is someone gonna rob her?
You know? No, I think it's pretty safe. You know.
Yeah, well, that's good.
But it was a good trip, man. I went to see my father's grave. You know, I got to see him. It's just kind of awkward always going back and not seeing him. You know, every year it's a different change. You know, this is he passed in September last year, so it's been just over a year now. And sometimes it's weird. I still pick up the phone to call him sometimes. You know, it's just been a different. I never imagined it, right? Like I never imagined being closer to 50 than. I remember yesterday I felt like I was 20 years old. I listened to these youngsters come in and talking to these guys at the shows and. They're telling me how, I just see the energy and I see how motivated they are. And I see a lot of myself, like how, starting off from that area and thinking, man, if I could ever just get to the big time, never imagine it was ever to this level, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's when you live somewhere and you're like, I want to, like you see some other place. You always want what you don't have,
of course.
Right?
That's life.
And I thought, California was it, right? And I mean, I remember coming to Vegas. I think I mentioned this like in '98 for the first time. And I remember looking around at the strip and being like, oh my God, this is Las Vegas. I've only seen it on TV and gangster movies and this. And here we are living in Vegas and it's like nothing to us, right?
When you go home, do you still feel home?
I do. I honestly, in the past year, I've honestly thought about, the lifestyle and how easy it is. And I think as you get a little older, sometimes it's like when you don't, like I'd say to you all the time, like I don't feel I take advantage, and we keep saying every week, and you've been actually better at this than I have. Like I'm going to get out and start doing more things, right? And then like the weekend comes and I'm like, God, I've been traveling. So it's been really difficult. Yeah. And you just said to me, I said, how do you feel? And you said, I'm absolutely beat. You flew 31 hours yesterday. I'll let you talk about, because I can brag about my airline and you can brag about yours. Because what we try to do on this show is give people a little insight, because like we travel so much, we're spoiled, right? And we do travel like first class, and most of the time, even when we can book an economy flight, we have status enough that we can upgrade and we can enjoy the benefits. Because remember, I mean, you just flew 31 hours in the air. And you were on the ground I know you were there for a week, but a lot of times, like when we go on these trips, we're literally in the air more than we're on the ground. So we like to be a little comfortable. And I mean, talk about it. Talk about the food. Talk about the experience. I mean, you flew something you never flown before.
We went to Dubai for the Dubai Muscle Show.
So who went?
Me, Regan, Brad, who does his filming, and Victoria, who's the WBFF fitness champion currently.
She's amazing, by the way. Yeah.
She trains at our gym.
Yeah.
And so this was the 6th Dubai Muscle Show, and you and I were there for the first one. And a lot of people have seen it in recent years, but they weren't there for the first one when it was in a tent.
Tents.
Literally tents.
And the winds blew the tents away. Do you remember?
Yes. And we walked down out of the hotel, and they walked us across the street, and we were in a tent.
I want to just say something. Do you remember? I had a view from the hotel. You could look down. Our
Yeah.
balcony was looking at the setup.
Yeah, we could see it.
And I'm like, the event was ready to start like 3 hours, and they were still building the tents.
yes.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
How are we gonna
is this
be?
going to happen?
I remember we walked down there, like, where are you? They're like, oh, you're through there. And I'm like, yo, that's a tent. And they're like, well, you're in that tent. I think Jason Poston was in there with Pro Sups in the same tent.
Yeah,
we were
and
in.
you know, and I was there with that the really popular Instagram guy, Lazar.
Lazar,
Remember
yeah. He was there too.
Yeah, so
There was barely any influencers the first
tell
year.
tell me first before we go into this, and I don't mean to interrupt, but you knew someone that actually hit you up about, hey, this guy's trying to start this event.
Yes. Okay, so the way this happened, my friend Amira, and she actually messaged me a couple days ago because she's had her second kid now. She lived here in America, and she moved overseas. Yeah. And so she hit me up and said, hey, this guy here is trying to start this expo, and he wants to, do you still manage Phil Heath? And I said, I don't work with Phil anymore, but if he needs help, I'll help him. So he called me.
And Phil Heath was Olympia at the time, right?
Yeah, he was Mr. This was in 2015.
Okay.
Or 2015 going into 2016. 2016. And so she connected me to him. And next thing you know, I worked it out and we got a deal done for you to go there. So you were the first person they ever booked. So when we got there, and I still have the pictures on my Instagram. I could dig way back. So we get to this, we get there and they put us at whatever hotel.
Media.
Yep. And you did the ribbon cut with the first one with the local shakes from the event. One of them that you said you just messaged earlier today.
My booth, bro, was like
it was a little.
It was 8 feet or some shit.
Like, it was in the back corner.
Yeah, remember we put out the clothes and
we put in the back corner and it was just there was literally grass like where we were. So that was the very first one, and obviously I've been to all of them except one. One year you and Angie went. Yeah. I didn't go to that one. But how big this expo is now it's
well, you actually didn't go the last few years. I don't know if they canceled it or
because of COVID we didn't go.
Yeah.
So no, last year I did go. Me and Regan went.
Oh, okay.
And then we went straight to Egypt. The year before that it was canceled. So, but anyways, so when we went to go there, obviously Regan had to go with Yamamoto, and I also had Nathan Diasha going from the UK. So I got to look up the travel stuff, and the flights were astronomical getting there. It would have been like 12 to 15,000 each from Vegas to get there. So I start, doing my research, and I find Saudi Arabia Airlines out of LA was only like $3,400 round trip business with a layover in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Well, only like a 2-hour layover.
So if you guys don't understand business, when you fly international, it's a bed.
Yes, you get a bed. You have your own area.
Yeah.
You lay flat, and then first class it's a little bit bigger. Some of them don't have business in first. So $3,400 to fly around the world is insanely cheap. So Brad and Victoria were coming with us. And I said, if we fly out of Los Angeles, it's only $3,400 round trip. Now you can either drive there, which I know when you come back, because I've flown overseas enough, the last thing you want to do is a 4 or 5 hour trip after you've flown 30 hours. So what I did was I booked one-way tickets, all of us on United, from Vegas to LA. Then we went and got our bags. Then we walked them around the airport, checked in, and flew there, then flew back. And the same thing, we got our bags, got through customs, walked our bags over, rechecked in United. But I can say this. I mean, I've flown on pretty much every airline at one point or another. That was the nicest business class seat I've had. Like, there was plenty of shoulder space. The TV was probably 20 inches. You had tons of room. The food was a la carte, which you don't get normally. It's normally set.
So tell me what you ordered.
I think on the way there, I just got some chicken.
Did they have a bar in the
Not in this
class?
one. No,
Okay.
it's Saudi Arabia. It's a dry airline.
See, I flew on Emirates. And
Emirates has a bar.
Yeah.
Emirates has a bar. Saudi Arabia has no alcohol.
Angie
so you
loved
can't.
that, by the way. We flew Emirates. And
So the last time Regan and I flew there from Germany, we flew Emirates. And he's like, yo, there's a bar in back. There's people hanging out and partying. I'm like, well, that's Emirates. It was the Airbus 380. So, but you just had a menu. So you could just ring the button and say, hey, man, I want a steak and I want this. And they have an actual chef with a kitchen on there that prepares everything fresh. So next time I go to Middle East, I'm going to definitely fly that airline again. And I never thought I would say that because I'm a United guy. It's a Sky team, so it's through the Delta code share. But it was really, really nice. It's a long fucking flight.
yeah, see, I flew Emirates direct from LA, and same thing. I had to take a different airline to fly over. And same thing, we had a long layover. We sat in the lounge at Emirates. But my friend Dimitri, who owns a business called I Fly First Class, which is discounted business tickets, like internationally. He's a good guy to link up with because like he can usually discount. I know you reached out to him.
He actually told me the Saudi airline is good.
Oh, okay, so
because I wasn't sure. But
he couldn't get you the price, that price, right?
He doesn't have a deal with Saudi Airlines. And I asked him, I said, is it a shitty airline? And he's like, no, it's actually really good. After flying on it, it's no different than Emirates or any of the other Middle Eastern airlines. They're really,
you just
really
had a
good.
layover in Saudi,
in Jeddah,
right?
Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Now, the lounge in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, is nicer than any lounge in America. Not even close.
Well,
they
Saudi's
had
a
actual
crazy country, you know.
It was the lounge was 20 times bigger than the ones here. They had like stores in the lounge where you can buy what you want. They had.
You were sending me, Gucci or some.
This is inside.
Regan was trying to buy something.
This is inside the VIP area.
How did you keep Regan from spending money in there?
No, he wasn't planning on it.
You had a video of some grabbing some bag or something.
Yeah, he was joking around. There was some weird creeper in there, and I filmed him. But when we get in this lounge, they have an actual coffee bar that has like 100 different types of coffee. They had a sweets bar where you could get, like when you walk through the airports, and they got like those like chocolate places that have 50 different types of chocolate. They had one of those inside the lounge.
How many cups of coffee did you have in that 2-hour
I just had one when I was there, but the food, it looked like where the drinks were, it was like 7-Eleven. They had every type of drink you can imagine. They had a full buffet that had steak, chicken, like really nice food to where here in America, like, hey, you want some peanuts and some crackers in their VIP lounges. So it was a great experience. We got there it took 30 something hours to get there, 30 hours back. We got there and we stayed at the Novotel the first couple nights, right next to the expo, the first 3 nights. And then after that,
did you walk to the expo? Or
yeah, it was in the same building. We stayed at the hotel.
Were there a lot of fans, or
it was?
Did you have security, or
no? We didn't need it. I would say from
my famous security picture with all those guys
I
walking with
that.
me. How many guys did I have?
Like
7
or 8. Yeah. No, it was. It's a long walk there because you have to walk through the whole building. It takes about 15 minutes. I was checking my steps. I was walking like 10 miles a day. So you can do cardio today? I said, fuck, dude, I'm going to walk 10 miles. No.
Yeah.
I would say from what I saw, the only expos that are busier than what I saw this year is FIBO and the Arnold. There was that much foot traffic there. And it's 3 days. There's 2 rooms.
What was the busiest day?
Saturday. During the day, I mean, there was parts where it was hard. It was, shoulder to shoulder. I don't know the numbers, but it was busier than the Fit Expo. Probably busier than the Olympia.
What were the biggest lines?
Ronnie had a crazy line. Rami had a crazy line. Rami was only there one day. Rami and Ronnie. Ronnie's going to have a line anywhere, just like if you're there. The people that have the legendary status. Then all the other, there was a lot. Dexter was there. Kai Green was there.
Kevin Levrone.
Kevin was there.
Chris Cormier.
William Bonnick.
Cormier.
Breon. Regan. Nathan.
Is Nathan coming to the Olympia? Or?
I don't know yet because he's still recovering from his injuries. I know I'm missing some other people there, but it was extremely busy. Jamie the Giant, it made me feel good that expos are back. I had a call with Tim Gardner this morning, and I told him, I said it made me feel really good going to this expo because expos have been slow for a while because of COVID and people has some uncertainty. But that expo there showed me that people are over it, they're done, and they want to move forward. And I assume the Olympia will be busier than it has been.
So I haven't been to Dubai for a few years. Is it continuing to grow? There are cranes everywhere.
Nonstop.
Tell me about the gym.
So we trained at you normally do. So we trained at Binos.
Okay, so tell our viewers, listeners, when we went to Binos,
2018.
And dude, it wasn't
open yet.
It was. I think the equipment hadn't even been cleaned yet.
We still have videos from us training at Binos when it was one room.
Yeah, there were only a few weights too. I think.
And they had plastic over everything.
I don't even know if they had plates. They might have just had selectorized equipment.
We trained certain equipment, and they had your video playing on the big jumbo screen. Well, since then,
it was one room then.
Yes, it was one room. He had his office up top, and he had just like a little cardio over here, and that was it. We went and met there. You and I trained, and there was like 10 people in there. Now, that whole upstairs is 2 restaurants, a smoothie shop, a supplement store, and a barber shop upstairs. Then when you go downstairs, they busted a hole through the one side of the wall, and it goes into another room that's, if I were to guess, 12,000 square feet. It's got a supplement store that's at least 50 yards long. Then it goes into another room that's another probably 10,000 square feet. That's got a second story with cardio. Then it goes into a third room that's probably another 15,000 square feet with 2 restaurants and another set of cardio that goes upstairs. If I were to guess, it's got to be 60 to 80,000 square feet now, and it's packed.
What if we did the Jay Cutler gym like that in Vegas?
It would put everyone out of business. It would. Because there's nothing, that gym has everything. It's kind of like another version of Oxygen.
Could you eat good food and
Yes.
bad food there? Did you eat burgers there?
No, we always got the same. It's kind of like a Chipotle, the restaurant they have in there.
What'd you eat?
So you walk up, all kinds of different stuff. So you walk up and they'll have a whole section of protein. They'll have shrimp, they'll have steak, they'll have ground beef, ground turkey, chicken, breaded chicken, bison, cod, you name it. And then they have every type of carb you can imagine. So you walk up and you say, hey, I want 250 grams or 300 grams or 200 grams of this protein and this carb. And you just get your meals made. So whenever Regan would go, he would grab 2 to go. So boom, he had his food for the day. So we would just get all of our food right there. And like I said, you got everything you can imagine training there. And the one of the days,
I wonder what they charge a month there.
like $275. It's not cheap, but it's
packed, right?
Yes. And it's got, like I said, it has everything you can imagine. I'm actually going to show some of the stuff. So Regan one day trained him, Sergio Oliva Jr., and Andrew Jack trained. And this is just some of the footage from them training.
So they were doing a collab for YouTube, right? So you'll see this coming up on YouTube.
This is just a one room up front.
I heard from Sergio this morning. He texted me, yeah.
This is the main room. This is where you and I trained, actually, right in this area. If you walk straight in front of where Regan is right there, that goes to that door that goes into the other rooms. But it was good.
Camera strength pull over.
We don't get to see Sergio very often because he was always in California.
He's huge, huh?
Yeah, he's big as a house. And Regan,
he said things are very positive for him there. He said it's working.
Yeah,
out really well
he seems he really likes it.
Says he's in a good headspace. Financially, he's good.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Good to hear that.
So here's this one, and then I don't know. All these videos were just sent to me today. So,
what'd Regan think of the gym?
He absolutely loved it.
Did he say we need this in Vegas?
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, Vegas needs a gym like this.
It's a lot of weight on that T-bar.
You know what's crazy? The first time he did this, he did the reps without straps. He just did it raw. Regan did this whole stack.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight. It pulls a lot on your. It's hard to breathe a lot.
Yeah, they were.
What time was this at? Like
this
what
was
time
probably around 3 in the afternoon.
Okay. Did people come up and bother or no?
No, they didn't. Which was really cool. I mean, obviously Sergio's, a big name. Regan's a big name. Andrew Jack lives there, so I'm probably sure they're used to seeing him there. But it was really, I think it was great for Regan to just get out there with a couple different, just get out of his element and get into a new spot. Let's see what else they have here. Yeah, I don't know I don't know.
There's a lot of different equipment I see.
Oh,
yeah.
it's.
This is a Nautilus row.
Yep, single arm row.
Yeah.
And this again is still in the main. I think this is in the main room still. And now I don't know if they have any other training in any of the other rooms. Let's check it.
They must have appreciated you guys going and training there.
Oh, this piece right here, we need this in Vegas. That's a Panada.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
They have it at Gym Hub,
Oh, they do?
Where I was in Boston this weekend, yeah.
That piece is, I think they took a picture of it and sent it over and said, let's get it for the gym in Vegas here.
Yeah, Sergio looks huge here.
Yeah.
And Regan looks big, but I don't see Andrew Jack in any of these videos, though.
It's just what they sent me. This was filmed. This was just Regan's edit.
So with him being 7 weeks out, Andrew, how was his energy / motivation? Like, did he say anything about his expectations at this year's contest?
No. He's just
humble guy.
He's
right?
a super humble guy. You could just tell he's excited to be.
I want
there.
to train with Andrew Jack.
He'll be here here Tuesday. Yep, he's coming in on Tuesday, and it'll be I look forward to it because
my bucket list of training still is, Flex Lewis. I still want to work out with Nick Walker.
Nick's here in town too now,
and Andrew. I want to train with.
Andrew would love it. He would absolutely love it. So he'll be here on. Like I said, he gets here Tuesday, and he's actually staying about 100 yards from my house. So he's right by Regan and I. So he'll be here for the last 7 weeks going into Olympia. Nick Walker.
It's crazy, man. Like, you see the dedication. Back in my era, dude, like Kai Green came in 2009 and he stayed for like a month or whatever. But look at all these guys that are coming here. And even Urishna is supposed to be here, right?
Urishna gets here tomorrow.
And she's going to focus and zone in. And, like, man, it just shows you what Vegas has become. And, Vegas, I don't think they did this in Florida the last couple of years, No,
because you know what it is? Vegas now can house it to where before it couldn't because there's so many good gyms here. It's not just the LVACs and the EOSs. Now there's obviously Lift Factory and there's Powerhouse, and now the Elevation's open, and there's Fit Club and the Dragons.
I trained at Fit Club yesterday, and I think you'll be shocked at some of the new equipment there. So
yeah,
you got to check it out, man. Yeah,
I'm going to go after our podcast. I'm going to go over there and because I only trained like 2 or 3 times while I was there. I wasn't feeling good, and for me, like my voice is still gone. I haven't been sick in like 15 years.
So were some of the booths like really massive booths, or
yeah? I mean, there wasn't any small booths.
Any U.S. brands there?
Ronnie Coleman.
Okay.
BPI, ProSups, Redcon, Labrada.
Was Kai Green there?
He was there with Redcon.
Okay.
Yeah, those were the main. I'm sure I'm missing a couple, but those are the main ones. So I spent time with Whitney over at the BPI booth, and I stopped by and saw Rami's new booth. I haven't seen Rami in like it.
He's got a new line called Red Rex or something.
Red Rex. Mark Post is running it. Remember Mark?
Yeah.
He was over. Yeah, I knew him from the GAT days. So he's running it, and there was a whole other room there that had all gym equipment. So I popped in and saw some of the different gym equipment. Yep, Panada was in there.
I saw Victor Martinez, I think, was there.
Yeah, actually, Victor was there. I didn't see him at all.
I think Sergio did a deal with Panada or something.
Yep, Sergio and Rami.
Yeah.
Yep. So I know Sergio was at the Black Skull booth.
Okay.
Hani was there. Andre
Dennis
Dewey.
Wolf.
Dennis Wolf was there with MI80 Gym.
Okay.
And then people didn't realize this, but everyone kept saying Hadi Chupin wasn't going to be here. Hadi was sitting right there in the booth.
And
here in Dubai,
snuck into the States,
and he got into the States. Well, I don't think he snuck in.
He snuck in
without nobody
knowing from the media knowing.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, he's here.
I had a feeling that's what's done because Hani was very quiet about going to Dubai, and I'm like, he's bringing Hadi back. That's why he's going. Well, and so now looking into the Olympia, this is the first time Hadi's been here for this long. So look at how Hani has dialed him in. With
last year was a tough one.
48 hours.
Yeah.
And now he's got 6 full weeks. So I expect to see the best Hadi Chupin ever. Is it enough to win?
He could win it, yeah.
I'm thank God I'm not a judge. So, but that was it was a real good trip, and like I said, we'll probably go back there in the near future. We need to get you out there, because every time we've gone there was always for a certain expo, but I think we need to just get you out there just to go spend time there.
I want to go train at this gym,
Dude, I'm telling you, when we were sitting there, everyone around's like, if one of these gyms was in Vegas,
it's just crazy at my age, like, and no competitive plans that I would probably plant myself there and be excited to actually train. But you said even the hotel gym was...
The hotel gyms they had all techno. The whole.
Where did you guys stay after the Novotel?
So we left the Novotel, and then we went over to the Hilton on the Palm. So the Palm is when you look from the map.
Yeah.
It's the island there,
yeah.
and we stayed at the Hilton there, which was awesome because
the outside looked really nice.
It was
water and all that.
It was great. It wasn't super cheap. I think it was like $2,000 for the 4 nights. So we stayed there, and we did we still went to the gym every day.
How were the buffets in the morning?
It was good. I mean, just like any other Middle Eastern buffet, it's got everything you can imagine. We went to the buffet one night, but for the most part, I was just doing my best, just getting normal meals. Because I wasn't, we all caught like a little, I just like maybe bronchitis or something, which for me, I just don't ever get sick. So I went and got some antibiotics. It's funny, over there you can get anything you can ever imagine pharmaceutical, but an antibiotic is like a no-no. So it was like a
Z-Packs?
It was like a shady operation for me to get a Z-Pack. They're like, yo, this guy's gonna bring it here. Yeah. He's a delivery guy, and he's gonna get it without a script. And I'm like, what the fuck? I can get anything you can ever imagine in pharmacy, but antibiotics is too much. So
did you pay attention to what was going on in the bodybuilding scene? Because we had a contest.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. While we were there, actually, you know who else was there? Mo Shaban was there with us. So the one night.
I did see that.
The one night Yamamoto rented a big yacht. So we went out on a yacht and we had a little barbecue on the yacht, which was pretty cool. And they
Rolly and everybody.
Rolly was on there, and Mo, and we were just having a blast on this big ass boat that was going all around the Palm. And while they were there, the videos and pictures were coming in from the Prague Pro. So people are talking their different opinions about Michal Krizo, because he just turned pro a couple weeks before. So I want to pull up the footage. I mean, obviously I wasn't there and you weren't there, but let's pull up the footage from.
I watched some of the stuff on social media, though, to be honest,
because people seemed like they were hammering him, saying he wasn't in shape, but
nah, he was pretty.
He looked like he was in shape. Well, Steve was the head judge. I mean,
yeah, he worked the hell out of these guys, and they talked about, well, who's going to challenge him. And remember, this is his first professional contest. He just got his pro card like 3 weeks ago or something.
He's massive, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the arms, he's got the, I got the shoulders. Listen, he could be fuller in the inner upper pecs, but I mean, look at the size of him compared to this lineup. It'd be interesting to see what he's going to look like standing on Olympia. But he wasn't so conditioned. I mean, I even said on this podcast, they said, what was your, I think I just expected so much from him, because remember, I looked at him in Gold Venice 20 weeks ago. Yeah. And I mean, he was so impressive. So when I saw him in Prague, no, it's not Prague, his show that he turned professional at, I wasn't blown away, but to be honest here, I felt like he was a pretty clear winner. Yeah. I mean, you can sit and pull, areas. I mean, even myself, when I was Mr. Olympia, you could always say I could improve in certain areas, but he definitely needs, a little more back. He needs more hamstring. He needs, like I said, upper chest, but I mean, he is damn impressive. He's definitely a contender. I mean, I definitely would take notice in the top 10 for this guy, because granted, he's got 6 more weeks, and this was what, a week or 2 ago?
This is last weekend. Yeah.
So, I mean, he's going to be sharper, I would assume.
Do you think if he... I
mean, his back isn't as bad as what they were tearing his back apart months ago. And like I told you, once he gathered the condition, he was pretty solid. I mean, the abs need to be... He definitely needs to bring more detail, but dude, he's got enough to really challenge the top guys right now. He's just overwhelming in size. So when you have that much size and that much width, and the width comes from the triceps and the shoulders, and he's got a pretty tapered waist. Mm-hmm. It's just he doesn't have a ton of abs. If you notice, like his lower abs, it just lacks a little detail. But dude, you can't, you can pick anyone apart. I mean, we all had weaknesses. I had weaknesses, but this guy's the real deal. I mean, I said it a long time ago, and he's going to be dangerous come
Do you
December.
think if he dials it in, do you think he could potentially be in the first call-out?
Yes.
I mean, he's impressive. I mean, I obviously,
you can see here after one comparison, he's not conditioned enough for this. Like, he really needs to practice his posing, because they're going to, especially with this year's lineup, they are going to work these guys to death. So anything I can suggest, I know some of you pros watch this, or you're close to the people that are going to be competing in all divisions. Guys, this posing needs to be a focus on, gathering the conditioning and the endurance on stage, because they are going to work the hell out of you. Steve doesn't have an easy task to crown, this top 10. So
I just had a conversation with someone this morning about it. I said, just imagine being one of the judges. like this year. And I know every year they go, oh, it's going to be the best Olympia ever. I'm not saying it's going to be the best, but tell me the last time
competitive.
that there is literally 15 guys. There's 10 guys that could be in the top 6.
I mean, the lineup's so deep in numbers.
Over, 33 or 34?
We've never had that.
No.
So, and hey, man, everyone wants to be in the first call.
I mean,
I sit there and I sit here over and over. We've done these podcasts, and I sat and, I harped on Regan, like, why go if you don't think you're going to win? Like, think about if every guy, 30-something guys, is going there like, I'm going to stand next to Big Ramy, who's Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
And you get the last call out. Like, how disappointing is that? But unfortunately, they're going to be the front of the pack and the back of the pack guys. Mm-hmm. And I know I was in the back, I was in the middle, and I was in the front. Mm-hmm. So for me, I know every aspect of competition. Yes. Yeah. And it's just experience. Like, what happens this year, what happens next year, the year after, like, it can change very quickly, as you saw with my career.
Of course. I think this year
But, we're sitting here talking about a guy that was just kind of like mysterious, like, who is this guy? Then is he even going to turn pro? He turns pro, and then, is he going to do his first pro show and win? Is he going to qualify his first shot out? Like, that alone is just like impressive. Tremendous.
Same thing with Andrew Jack.
So this guy is like on top of the world right now.
Just think of last year, the top 5.
Nuts.
All of those guys expect to be in the top 5 again.
Of course.
And
you have 2 newcomers.
There's 2 newcomers and someone like a Samson who's made dramatic improvement.
Or a Bonnick who's improved, that was 5th.
Bonnick could get anywhere.
He was 6th last year. Yeah.
He could win.
And he was 2nd before.
Yeah. There's a, I even spoke to Bonnick about this, because it looks like
he was there too.
Yeah. I sat and spoke to him for a while, and he asked me about, what do you think going to Olympia? And I just said, look, on paper, Ramy should repeat. It's very rare that.
How do you feel about that?
But I think he understood what I meant by that. But I said, you and a bunch of other guys
have a legit shot,
could beat him, but second through 10th is wide open. Just because you got 3rd, 4th, or 5th last year doesn't mean you're going to be there. There's guys like Krizo and Jack who could leapfrog you.
I hope these guys we're all talking about, when they do the press conference, they're like, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. And because I was there, I was there, and I had that like uncertainty, but at the same time, like, then I was confident, and I was like, I was going to win, and people laughed at me. Right. But all these guys, like, they've been there, done that, and then the new guys are going to be there.
Yeah.
The guy that's maybe last in this contest may eventually win this show.
It's very well true. 100%.
And that's where you got to look at, like, it's all just, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint to the top, right?
Yeah.
We all want to win today, but just pace yourself, be smart about it, approach it with positivity, and just whatever the outcome is, it's in the judge's hands, right? But just be your best. Be your best on stage, and just focus on, getting up there, being confident in the poses, transitions great, but condition yourself, condition it, and just be ready, because it's going to be a hell of a contest.
Yeah. I can't, this is the first year I can ever remember where, and I know every other year they always say this, you kind of know where people are going to fall.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go to the Saturday night show. I don't think I'm going to be present at the prejudging. I want to build the anticipation. And I honestly, I might get too much anxiety going to the prejudging. So I got to kind of know going there Saturday, and I'll be texting you like, well, who's up? Send me the videos, But, it's one of those things where I kind of want to know who's the top 10.
Yeah.
When I go there to watch, because I get it's just too much for me watching in the audience. I mean, I'm just
because you want to be up there.
Not that I want to be up there, but it brings back a lot of emotions,
But like I said, think of it like this: when you were in your prime, you knew then there's a bunch of great bodybuilders, but you knew the only person you had to beat was Ronnie.
Of course, well, I mean,
but
not in my mind. Yes, that's who my only one I had not beaten.
Is if you were in shape, you knew the other guys could not beat you. You were superior. That doesn't mean they're bad. That takes nothing away from. You knew that was the person you had to beat, and that's why you kept getting second. But imagine what some of these other guys are coming in. Like take like a Nick Walker. He gets fifth. He could legitimately win, and he knows that. He could leapfrog everybody and win.
Yeah.
Hunter could legitimately win. Hottie could win. I thought Hottie should have won 2 years ago. You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many guys. Who knows what Andrew Jack will look like next to him. Don't even talking about Brandon Curry. Brandon has won every show, and the only person that's beat him in 3 years is Rami.
How big did he look when you saw him?
Oh, I totally forgot Brandon was there.
Yeah,
Totally forgot my mind. Brandon looked as big and round as I've ever seen him. I mean,
he's a great representative.
Brandon looked really big. He came over to the booth, and Larry Wheels' booth was next to us, and he did some little arm wrestling skit with him. I'm like, please don't fucking do this. Don't tear something.
Really?
But no, it was just a skit.
Yeah.
But Brandon looked as big as I've ever seen him. And Brandon.
What did Trent say?
Trent O'Hearn?
Yeah.
He messaged me this morning, when do you ladies want to do the podcast? I said, when are you coming? He goes, I don't know. Well, then tell me when you want to come. So Trent needs to come out and do Mike Trent O'Hearn needs to come out and do a podcast with us. But no, I totally forgot he was there too. He did some filming with, I forgot who he was doing it with. Ulysses and.
Where's all our female representatives, man? Where were they? Who, like. There were some girls with
Juju
Yamamoto.
was there. Juju was there.
Okay.
She didn't do the Olympia last year. She's a wellness girl, but she
told me like the wellness division is like crazy. I mean,
it's stacked. You know, there's a lot of really good people. You know, Yarishna is going to be right in that mix. There's probably about 5 or 6 girls in that top echelon that on any given day, any of them can beat each other.
I'm asking that because I'm looking at your shirt right now.
Oh, of course. You see the Angelica shirt.
Yeah.
You know, she's the best representative of the Olympia since you. Yeah, I said it.
Baby number 2.
Yep, she's pregnant again with number 2.
When does she do, you know?
February.
Okay.
Yep. So
do they know what they're having yet? Or
a daughter.
Okay.
Second daughter. Yep. So I think that's another division that's a tough one. No different than Classic. You know, we saw Breon was there.
He looked unbelievable. I saw him at Gold's Venice, by the way. Did you see the video? He put out a video, so he took off his shirt and he posed for me. I mean, we see pictures of Bumstead. I know we just talked about Ramon on the way here, the picture that was just out ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, Jen Dory's looking amazing. Laura Lee's looking amazing.
Laura Lee,
Jordan's looking great.
Yep, Jordan
we talked about Maureen.
Maureen got what? She was top 4 last year.
I haven't seen Ashley floating around much. I haven't seen her on social media. She was 4th last year?
She was in top 5. I think she got 4th last year. 3rd or 4th.
So
Ashley's right there. So is Isa Piccini. Yeah. She's right there. I mean, there's 5 girls that any one of them could win on any given day. Because there's nobody, in my opinion, there's none of those girls that are far superior to the others. Mm-hmm. Like when Angelica was winning, she was winning pretty easily. But now all those girls are so close that if you're off a little bit, you could drop 3 spots.
I mean, Brandon, we'll see if he's gonna,
Henderson
or if
Aaron Banks
gonna come. But listen, Chiron here looks. You saw him at Legions.
I saw him in Legions. He looked
unbelievable.
Amazing. Yeah, there's a lot of.
I know Nick's looking good. I mean, there's a lot of people that are like super. I mean, he's here. They're all coming to Vegas, and they're all coming for one thing.
So I think what we need to do is have a Jay Cutler gym that's like Binos.
Binos, you hear that? I'll talk to you when I come over. I'm going to come over the next couple months.
Either that or, we just, that gym is amazing. It's just got the environment. And when you have an environment like that, you got all the top people in there. They're all helping each other out. There's, it was a great gym. We need something like that in Vegas.
I'm glad it was a good trip. Do we want to wrap it up or anything else we need to talk about? What are we missing?
That's it for now. People are slowly starting to
invade. We'll be back. So this is, are you launching this today?